Month of March, world over, is celebrated as International Women's Day, precisely March 8th. This year, the theme for International Women's Day is Accelerate Action. And we here on Inspire Someone today, for the last 4 years, we have been celebrating Women's Day not for a day, all through for one full month. It's an absolute joy to have four different women inspirers joining us this month. The last of this series this month, we have been joined by this wonderful coach, podcaster, head teacher, well-being expert. I don't know what else can I add to the list, but it's an absolute joy to have Bijal Shah joining us on this episode of Inspire Someone today. Welcome to the show, Bijal.
Hello, thank you so much for having me. What a wonderful introduction. So lovely on this Sunday morning.
Lovely to have you on the show. Like I said, we have been running back-to-back 4 episodes this month. This is last of the series of the 4 episodes and couldn't have been more thrilled than have you on the show, Bijal.
Well, do you know what? Thank you very much, but also congratulations to you for the consistency. 4 years and you're still going. Many podcasters don't, and you're doing this special 1 in 4 episode. And I tell you what, I feel so humbled that you asked me to come on here. So thank you so much. I can't wait to be part of your platform.
Let's get started. So you're not only former head teacher, a coach, you are also a recently added title to your name tag that is a podcaster. So congratulations on your podcast. We'll talk about it little later. But before that, first up, let's hear a bit about you, Bijal. What's your backstory? How did you land at what you're doing today? Just walk me and walk my listeners through your backstory.
So my parents are Indian. My mum's from India. My dad is from Africa, but they're both Indian. And they are obviously immigrants. And they came to England when they were both very, very young. And my mum was only 18 and my dad was about, 21? And my dad had this real aspiration for his children. And he always said to us, I will do whatever it takes for you to be successful and to be happy in this life. I want you to have everything that I didn't have. So that is what, all immigrant parents want for their children. But my dad, like other immigrant parents, he was really, really obsessed with education. He saw that as the absolute way forward for anyone to succeed, right? And he's a clever man, but he never really had any formal education. And my parents, they were just factory workers. And then they, had their own sort of shop and everything. And they literally remortgaged their entire house to send me to private school. And because I was quite academic, I was very good at studying, I was, good at school, and I passed all the exams to get in, they literally would give me anything I need to make me successful. So that's a lot of pressure. But when I did go to this school, it really was like the best of British, right? As you see on TV, great teachers, massive grounds, really smart looking uniforms and really fantastic teachers. But the one thing about the school was that they really were aspirational for the values that they instilled in the girls that they had at the school. So we grew up with, you can do it, you are aspirational, you are a leader. And when you go out into the world, it is your duty to make a difference in the world. So that's what I did. I worked in HR and I swapped to education very swiftly afterwards because I always had it in me to guide people, Even in my friendship groups, it was a natural way for me. I really wanted to make a difference and, so I swapped to education. And the minute I swapped to education, it must be universal alignment. I really progressed quickly. It really suited me. I loved the lesson planning, curriculum development. I loved making a difference to the children, to the pupils, supporting their parents. And I very, very quickly started to progress in my career quickly. And I started to get leadership roles. And then I started to get school improvement roles. So I then sort of thought, okay, I'm doing quite well. I want a little bit of a new experience in life. And at that time, education in the UAE was a big thing. So I went over to Abu Dhabi and I taught there for a while. And again, my career just really took off there and I started doing school improvement. When I came back to England a couple of years later, I then took on a headship of a school. So they asked me to take on a school that requires improvement and they wanted me to take it as a school improvement project. So that's what I did. All the way through my career, I've had a lot of leadership roles that involve developing teaching and learning, training, coaching, and mentoring. And I absolutely loved those parts of the role. And I thought to myself, imagine one day if I could just like coach or mentor or train all day long. And I just thought, this is really what I love doing. I just really love supporting others to be the best that they can and just a guiding force to like really, like unleash their potential. Then during the headship, the pandemic happened and I'd worked really, really hard to get to where I was. And, I did really love it, but I did dedicate the majority of my days and my life to work. That's how I got to where I was at such a young age. But I didn't know any different. And during the pandemic, everybody started talking about well-being and mental health. And I just started thinking to myself, oh, I pride myself on never being sick, never ever having a day off work, always doing the best for everyone else. But I really was quite burnt out. I really was quite tired. I realized during the pandemic, I don't have a life. I work all day long and I really don't go anywhere. I don't do anything. I just think about work all the time. And at the same time, during the pandemic, I turned 40. But you couldn't have a celebration because you couldn't have anyone in your house. But a friend of mine met me on a park bench and she said to me, "Are you happy?" I said, "I am really happy. I mean, my immigrant parents, this is all they wanted for me, a good salary and, good pension and got a good job. What else will I do in life?" But I did already train as a coach in 2012. So I used my coaching throughout my career and set up coaching cultures in different organizations and across different trusts and things like that. And she said to me, "Right, you love the sun, right?" I said, "Yes." She said, "I'm going to ask you a question." And this was the penny dropping moment. Okay, that changed my life. She said, "Right, it's your 40th birthday." She said, "I'm going to ask you a question. How many more summers have you got left and how do you want to spend them?" And I thought, oh my goodness, I love my job. I thought, but yeah, I'm not like others. I've got years ahead of me, decades ahead of me. And I thought, what could I do? And that question, I couldn't get it out of my mind. And I thought about it and I thought about it. But instinctively, that question just kind of like pierced me in a way that I just thought, oh no, now I'm not going to be able to start thinking about what I can do. So I did. I knew at that stage I would leave my role at some point and that I would set up my own coaching because during the pandemic, a lot of the other head teachers that I knew were going through quite a hard time and they wanted some coaching. And I was really enjoying guiding others through this, difficult period. I then had Black Lives Matter happen at the same time in the pandemic. So because I was, I think, a very low percentage of women of color in a leadership position, under 40, all of a sudden my LinkedIn started to just go a little bit crazy. Do you want to do this show? What do you think about ethnic minorities in leadership? But I didn't do any of the radio shows or articles. What I did decide to do was coach leaders of color in senior leadership positions during the pandemic. And I just loved the coaching. And also, some of it was mentoring as well for some of the younger heads or the younger head teachers as well. And I just thought, I wish I could do this for the rest of my life. Like, I love it. So then I started to think, okay, let me put a plan in place, right? Because I'm not a spontaneous person. Like, I like to plan. So I started putting a plan together and I thought, I'm never, ever going to leave this school until we get an inspection that says that we are now a good school. We got that inspection. It became a good school. And I thought, this is my time. It's just a natural way. And I had set things up business-wise, client-wise. I already had a client base. I joined high-level business mentoring with Adam Stott at big business events. I started learning about funnels and sales and, how to develop products and how to develop signature solutions and how to do that. And that was great. But I still have a very spiritual side to me. So I started learning about the human design system, and I combined my business mentoring with the human design system. And I just started to do what I really love doing. I started to do education consultancy, coaching, training, mentoring. But now I've moved on not only to do that, but I do leaders from all walks of life, from all different industries. And now my company, Think, Link, Lead, it has a team. So we have a team of people, and soon we'll be having an academy as well that offers leadership qualifications. So it's been a bit of a planning process, but now I'm really doing what I really love. But I tell you what, Shrikant, this life is for you if you know how to network and you really prioritize your relationships, and you've really got to have a very strong mind and resilience about you to be self-employed, because it's beautiful to have a job and a regular monthly salary. But to do what you really love, you do have to also make sacrifices, expensive gym membership and spa memberships. They have to go temporarily, but it will come back. So yeah, now I spend my days coaching, mentoring, training. And actually, the school that I used to go to, they asked me to come back to be a mentor, to mentor some of the young ladies there. So I'm really, really proud to do that. And I'm very happy as well.
Fantastic, Bijal. I think that was a great start, a good summary of everything that you have done. I picked up quite a lot of things as you kind of unfold your journey from being a daughter of immigrant parents to you yourself going to a country as an immigrant and doing something that you love doing. So along all of these things that you did, whom do you attribute as influences to what you have been doing? What was those early influences that you had on your life?
Okay, so one of my early influences, when I look back, there was this show on the TV, and it was a comedy show, and it was called Goodness Gracious Me. Have you heard of it?
I've heard the name, yeah.
So one of the women on that show, Mira Sayel, she's also an author. She's also does some theatre work. And I'd never seen anyone who was from my background on the TV in the creative industries. I'd never seen anyone not being a doctor, dentist, lawyer, pharmacist. And I really felt so inspired by her books when I read them, when I saw her on the TV, and the absolute creativity. And I thought, wow, someone from my culture is doing something that I really admire. And I really admired her. And I thought, I wonder if I could be like her, not so much in the creative industries, but break the mold of the cultural barriers that we have. And I really just absolutely watched every episode. I read all about her. I read all her books. And I just felt so inspired. She was one of my really early childhood inspirations.
Awesome. You did mention about breaking the mold, and you did in a very beautiful way, from being a head teacher to doing coaching and now podcasting. If you were to highlight a couple of challenges or lessons learned along the way, what would that be?
So I would say definitely balancing the transition process, right? So when you are an employed person and you have a monthly salary, you have an employee mindset, okay? And there is a security that comes with that. When you transition into being self-employed and you're an entrepreneur, you've got to transition from having that employee mindset to entrepreneur mindset. So an entrepreneur mindset is one that does take risks, the one that has absolute faith and belief in what they are doing. And they've got to be able to navigate the good times and the bad times. You've got to be able to just have the energy and motivation to have a routine, because no one is holding you accountable. When you are working for yourself, you don't have to get out of bed for anyone. You've got to force yourself to have a routine, get out of bed. You've got to make sure that you get all your things done. You've got to have a routine in place, and you've got to have like your plan for the week. So you've got to be very, I would say, money savvy. You've got to have some money management about you. You've got to know that when money's there, how much can you put aside for when it might not be there? How much, what opportunities are there? But also you have to be the face of your business. You have to make relationships. You have to prioritize relationships. You have to network. But you also have to understand that you might be working much more than you were before, right? Weekends, evenings, but it will calm down. But the one thing I love about this lifestyle is the freedom and the flexibility, to go on holidays or to have a bit of time out. It took me a long time to transition from that employee mindset to entrepreneur mindset. I have to say it was quite a process.
And each of it has its own merits and demerits. Employee mindset is in no way a bad thing. It has its own set of advantages if one were to pursue that. Having said that, you have transitioned from being a head teacher to coaching the head teachers. How was that transition like? Did you kind of see openness amongst head teachers to getting coached? Because head teachers are somebody who always pride themselves for teaching kids, coaching kids. Now they being coached. How was that transition? How was this receptiveness to getting coached?
Not just head teachers, but any leader, they all tell me the same story. And you would have heard this. It's lonely at the top, right? You're there for everyone else, but for you to be your absolute best, for you to absolutely have someone to guide you in your leadership, because leadership is not something you leave at the door. It's not just a job. It's part of you. Whoever you are personally, that is also part of you as a leader. So they need someone to help and guide them either through coaching or mentoring, right? So in coaching, you would be a facilitator and you would, it's very goal focused and you would, work with them towards their goals and you've got the questions and the feedback. Whereas mentoring role for that is more to do with the mentor being very hands-on. There's someone very experienced. They've walked your path before and they can show you the way. It's like having a, really hands-on experience. But how do they take it? They approached me. So they're already in the buy-in mode, right? They approach me. They know that they need support emotionally. They know that they need to have a sounding board to help them guide them towards where they want to be. And now coaching and mentoring are massive parts of leadership development. For the first time ever, we're seeing leadership development programs that now intertwine coaching or mentoring, especially coaching, into the programs. So they're very open to it. 5-10 years ago, would they be? I don't think so. I think they would have got mixed up with, is this therapy? Is this counseling? Is this trauma work? What is it? But now it's becoming sort of more and more popular and it's becoming more and more appreciated.
And it's also more the need of the day. You want to be a good leader, but you cannot do everything by yourself. That's where you need to have these kind of coaching sessions, have that access to mentors, have access to that network.
Yes, and a coach will always give you very powerful questions and use tools to help you really uncover blocks, have mindset shifts, and take you to the next bit of where you need to go. But also, you really reduce the overwhelm in coaching because a very good coach knows how to assess something called congruency. So, are your goals aligned to who you are? Is what you're saying aligned with your actions? And a very skilled coach will also be able to take you through those mini steps, milestones to get you to where you want to be.
So that naturally takes me to the Think, Link, Lead. What is Think, Link, Lead?
Yeah. So Think, Link, Lead is a human-centered company. Okay. We are a group of coaches, mentors, and trainers, all working as collaborators. And what we do is we take collaborators who are already working in that leadership, coaching, mentoring field. That some of them are LinkedIn top voices, some of them are TEDx speakers. They're already on the ground working with leaders already. And we offer coaching, mentoring, and we offer training, all to do with leadership. So we've got a menu of leadership training from aspiring leaders, new leaders to C-suite executives. We've also got mentoring programs and specific coaching programs as well. So it's a real resource there. And then coming soon is also the academy, which will be offering the leadership qualifications.
So how did you conceive this whole idea of Think, Link, Lead? What made you to kind of think about it, and what was the genesis of the podcast?
So I always saw myself as a leader, and the way that I came up with Think, Link, Lead was through meditation. Okay. So I was sitting on the floor, and this was even before I went to the UAE. So I was kind of midway through my career as a teacher, and I thought to myself, I would really like to have my own business, but I was only sort of 5 or 6 years into my actual teaching career. And I do some meditation and some quiet time work. And all of a sudden, I just like heard this voice in my head, go and get a yellow piece of paper. And I thought, yellow piece of paper? Right, okay. So, I had a yellow piece of paper, like a yellow Post-it note. And I thought, okay. And then write these words down, think, link, lead. And I thought, oh, they're really nice words, aren't they? Right? So I wrote the words down and then I put them on my mirror in my bathroom. And I didn't really know what it was. Yeah. And then I just left it there. And sometimes I would look at it, and I looked at it for years. I just had the Post-it note there for years. Then one day when I came back from the UAE, and I took on my headship role. And one day I was getting ready, putting on my lipstick, getting ready. And I looked at it, and I'd kept this Post-it note for years and years. And it was all like really stained. And like by this time it was just really, and I thought, oh my God, that's it. That's a company. That's a company I should start. But I literally held on to it for years, right? And I didn't know what it was. And then I messed around with a few logos and a few concepts. And if you look back at my LinkedIn, even when I decided to start Think, Link, Lead, it was something very different. It was a human, sort of using my human design experience in coaching. Then it finally kind of tweaked. Yeah, leadership coaching, mentoring, training, stick to what you've got. Okay. Then it became a podcast. And now it's a full-blown company with an academy coming soon as well. So yeah, it literally came to me through meditation.
Wow, how intriguing that is.
I was not ready for it.
You got the signals, but you're not ready for it. And when you're ready, you took it on.
Yeah, and absolutely going through that process of it as well. So now I do every single day spend at least 10 minutes closing my eyes and just being quiet and just thinking, okay, just calm my nervous system. If any messages come to me or intuitive hits come to me about my business or my personal life, I take them on. And, at that time when Think, Link, Lead came to me, I had like all the incense sticks going and, I'd kind of like had the sun coming in through the window. And I had just decided that day I would just take a moment for myself. And I'm really in a relaxed state. And I'm not sure about the science behind it, but there must be something about that relaxed state that does actually open up something in your subconscious mind. I'm sure of it.
That was a magical moment, isn't it?
Yeah. And, I said to my friend at the time, I was doing some meditation today and I said, I had these 3 words. And she said, they're nice words. I said, yeah, I'm just going to keep this Post-it note though. And for years and years, I just didn't know what to do with it.
Lovely. Bijal, a couple of times you did mention about the human design system. What is it? And what is that one can do to kind of have a little more understanding about it?
So the human design system is a combination of modalities, okay? So it's got the Hindu chakra system in there. It's got the Chinese I-Ching system in there. It's got the tree of life. It's got astrology as well. And it's based on quantum physics, all right? It's based on quantum physics. Now, how this works is it takes your birth information. So it takes your exact name, date of birth, time of birth, and it takes like where you were born. So, we will be used to this in India as well when we go through this, the astrology system. So the human design system, it believes that when you are created, okay, the stars, the energies, the planets, they are all in a particular place. So as you come through that energetic stream, you become imprinted in a specific way. So it takes your birth information and it gives you a human design blueprint. And it shows you your strengths. It shows you, your areas for development, your gifts. It shows you how you function in life. It shows you your framework of your purpose. So if I get my phone and I show you a human design chart, it's really quite something unusual, right? Again, came to me in the pandemic. This is my human design chart, okay? So what you can see is down the side, you've got the astrology, you've got the tree of life with the lines, all these numbers, they're the Chinese I-Ching. And then all of these funny shapes, geometric shapes, they are actually the chakra system, but it's a 9 system, not 7 system chakra system, right? So it's a combination of modalities. Now, you have to learn how to read a human design chart, right? You have to learn how to read it. Now, the core elements of human design are your type, your strategy, and your authority. So your type is like the group you belong to. Your strategy is how you function. And then your authority is your decision making. So according to my human design, I've got gate 18 in the sun. So in astrology, the sun is a very, very big part of who you are. So I've got gate 18 in the sun. And I've got the full channel, and that is called correction. So my entire life, when I look back, I think, oh my goodness, all I've ever had is my leaders, my superiors saying to me, can you create this department? Can you improve this? Can you make this better? This is failing. It's not working. Can you improve it? Because in my sun gate, I can see that I'm here for correction, right? But if you understand more about the gate, and even the school that I took, it's always been in my career, correction, improvement, right? So, but you have to understand that with the gate, it's a gate where it's not for the individual, it's a gate for the masses. So when you've got correction in your sun, because you have an energy of correction, you are always looking at things with how can that improve? That's not quite right? But it's not for correction for the individual. It's for making things better so that it can flourish. So you've got to think with the human design, with the gate, you can work towards the lowest vibration of the gate or the highest vibration. So at the lowest vibration, you would be judgmental, you would be perfectionist, you would be critical because you're always about correcting. If you use it to your highest vibration, you are putting in systems and processes for effectiveness, improvement, so things can flourish. And I also learned in human design, my type is a projector. 20% of the population are projectors, and these people are guides. They're people who are good one-to-one and in small groups. They are people who are the guiding force in humanity. And I thought, no wonder I love coaching and mentoring, and I'm always thinking about how can things improve. I don't even take on projects unless there's something to improve. So there's so much more in human design as well. I mean, about now I know my decision-making authority, right? So I know how to make decisions, how my body makes decisions. I am a splenic person. So I make decisions in the moment, in the now. Like I just know in the moment, in the now. I get an intuitive hit straight away. I know something's for me or not. But if I leave it, I'm not designed to leave my decisions. I make decisions in the moment, in the now. But some people, they are designed to go through an emotional wave, sleep on it, take time, right? But I'm very much in the moment, in the now. So now I know that my human design is just almost like a guiding force to help me with my business, my marketing, my personal life. Am I showing up as my highest vibration, my lowest vibration? If something's not quite working, why isn't it working? I often go to my human design chart. I don't use it as my everything, but I definitely use it as my guiding force. And I actually used it with my senior leadership team because they were very open. They're quite a young team, and they were, really, really open to human design. And we worked out what are people's strengths, how is your energy? What are you good at? And we managed to say, I'm the strategist as a projector, right? This person is really good with research. That person has got a real people-orientated way about them. And this person is really good at picking up some of the nuances in training. So we put all of that together and we changed how we did things like staff meetings and how we kind of approach people and how we deal with complaints. And even that little experiment on its own, the team dynamic, it just made things flourish. People started to understand that, okay, yes, so Bijal, you are the strategist. This is what we want to do. You put it together. That's my strength. I'm not so much an on-the-ground person. I'm a person who creates systems and processes so others can flourish in their leadership, right? I know another person on my team is incredibly research-orientated with the one in their profile. So we got them to always create training materials with lots of pedagogy and lots of research and theory, the other person to deliver it, the other person to be the support and the coach person. So when you use it in the workplace for team dynamics, it can be absolutely life-changing in terms of your team productivity. Is the world ready for it? Don't know.
Is the world ready for it? So very, very intriguing. Where do one get to kind of know a little more about the human design system? Do they reach out to you, or is there a body of work that is available for people to look, research, understand?
Yes, there is. So I currently offer human design readings, and I tell you, they are so popular. Even now, some of the real scientifically based leaders that I work with, I tell them about human design. And if they're open to it, then yes, I read them. And every single person that I coach has always asked me, well, can we do a human design reading as well? So on the website, the Think, Link, Lead website, you can book a human design reading, and also you can read about human design. So what I have done, because my niche area is leadership, I've taken the human design system and I've aligned it with leadership. If you want a personal human design reading, that's something different. But I do that as well. And I was doing one just earlier this week. And, once people learn about themselves and how they are imprinted, their natural way of being, their core way of being, right? The words that I often hear is, you've just given me permission to just be myself. Because the one thing about human design is it talks about conditioning, because we're all conditioned by our culture, by social media, how we grew up, our friends, our family. So human design is a way of you going, no wonder I don't quite want to do that, because this is the way that I'm imprinted. So I know that I am a non-sacral being. I don't have life force energy, right? But I have a defined route. So I have a motor that keeps me going, but I don't have life force energy. So no wonder I get burnt out if I overwork. But I always thought, maybe I just can't keep up with everyone. Maybe it's just, but I always force myself because I've got that root center that keeps me going. But now I know, I don't have a sacral. I do have the ability to keep going, but I've got to now honor my energy. So I now work in a way that suits my energy. I take breaks. I prioritize breaks, right? If I've got an intense week, I will then take some time off the week later, because now I understand how my energy works, right? So even as a projector, I now know that my way of functioning is to be recognized and invited into opportunities. So I then know if I try and make something happen and I initiate something, it's going to come across as repelling. So now I wait for recognition and invitation. So you'll realize with this podcast, you reached out to me. You recognized me on LinkedIn. You invited me onto this podcast, right? If I had reached out to you, you might have thought, that's a bit, because of the way that my energy is, you might have thought, no, thanks. So therefore, I have to make myself available. I have to have social media. I have to make sure that I am visible so that people can recognize me and can also invite me into opportunities, right? So there's much more to it, but these are some of the basic principles of how I do my business now and things like that. Doesn't mean that I don't reach out to people. It just means that my language is not initiating, it's of availability. Oh, hey, it's really great to connect with you. Just to let you know, we've got these trainings available if you are interested. Because if I come across as initiating too much, it's not going to align with the type of person that I am in terms of my energetic blueprint. It has worked so far. So
No, that's wonderful. I think I look at this as an instruction manual that you give to somebody to say, how do you use this manual to get the optimum performance? You can still use the device, but if you follow the procedure in the manual, you can optimize it. So this is, like I said, very intriguing. We'll definitely kind of leave some notes about this. And I hope the listeners will definitely take advantage of this particular piece of information.
thank you.
Great. This has been some lovely conversation, Bijal. Thank you so much for sharing your journey, sharing what you're doing as part of your Think Link Lead venture. Okay, here we are with Bijal, and we are continuing our conversation. We are here for the Power of Three round. The first of the Power of Three round question, Bijal, to you is, what three transformative ideas that you see in the K-12 education space? You being an educator yourself, what do you see as three transformative ideas the world can see?
So the first thing is, I've been into schools now, they're international schools that have really changed the environment of how people learn. So in the old fashioned classrooms, everyone would face the front. But now I'm seeing some very innovative schools who have got group tables, who've got bean bags, who have got individual workspaces, all within the exact same space. So that actually people, because they have different ways of working and they need different environments to help them flourish, they've managed to do that. So that's been fantastic. One of the other things that I've seen and that I feel are really transformative are curriculums that actually allow the pupils to have time in the day to research online and YouTube what they're interested in beyond the actual normal curriculum. So they actually say, here's a laptop, here's YouTube, here's Google. What are you interested in apart from the normal curriculum? Go and have time to research it, right? Because the University of YouTube can teach you quite a lot. So some pupils, they look at cooking. Some people, they like to learn how to do a lot of DIY. Some people, they like to look at how to do trading. You know, they like to just research certain books or like things about mindset. And, you know, I've only seen it once, right? Where they're dedicating the time. But let's talk about impact. When I actually interviewed the pupils about this, they said it made them want to come to school, right? That school was a purposeful place to be because they could learn what they needed to learn, English, maths, you know, all of that. But they had the opportunity to have their teachers as guides to help them with what they're interested in. So lots and lots of people were interested in being an entrepreneur, you know, understanding about trading, understanding mindset shifts, understanding neuroscience. Some people wanted to learn about forensic science. Some people wanted to learn about even simple things like, oh, if I want to be a doctor, what kind of specialism could I go into? And there's so many people now who have the opportunity to do what they're passionate about. I do think schools have a obligation. They have a duty of care to support pupils to really unleash that potential by giving them that time to say, right, what can I do? What is my purpose? You know, the coaching part. So many young people don't know what their strengths are. How many people do you know that are young and you ask them, what do you want to do when you're older? Don't know. But that's a massive missed opportunity, right? So the third one is coaching and mentoring for young people. I think that's transformative. Imagine if you had that when you were younger.
Yep, would be a game changer.
And this is where schools need to innovate. Absolutely.
Great, good start there, Bijal. 3 micro experiments that Bijal follows.
So I believe in doing a little bit every day, right? A little bit of something every day to help me get to where I want. Even if it's a little bit of cleaning every day, right? If I might clean a little bit of the shelves every day or clean my desk or whatever, by the end of the week, I've cleaned the entire house. So I believe in things like that. Also, walking every day. So you take a little bit of a walk every day. By the end of the week, you've done a lot more. Okay. Then also, if I'm creating a new project or a new training, I will do about an hour every day. So by the end of the week, it's done. So this absolutely makes me feel less overwhelmed. It also aligns with my human design, right? Because I can only work for a certain amount of hours a day. So a little bit every day to what you want to do really just takes away that overwhelm.
Not a month or this. Little bit every day, but consistently.
Consistently, yeah.
Wonderful. Three individuals you would like to have lunch or dinner with. They can be present, they can be from the past, but who are those three individuals and why?
Yeah, so I've got a little list here, actually. So, because I'm an educator, Malala Yousafzai is definitely somebody that I would like to have at the dinner table, because what she sacrificed for girls in education is absolutely admirable. There's a new program that I've started watching on the TV here in England, and it's a lady, her background is Bangladeshi, and she's called Nisha Kotona.
Mm-hmm.
And she is a chef. She used to be a barrister. I think she's worked in other jobs, but her absolute love of food, the way she communicates the food, the way she goes into the history, but also she lives with like animals like horses, and she's got some other animals there, and, you know, very open grounds. And the way that she behaves and the way that she is, I look at human design and I think the whole point of human design is to make sure that you're living in alignment. And when I watch that program, I love it because it's a food program, but because I can see someone living in alignment with who they are. So that's really great. And the other person I absolutely have to have at the dinner table, just because this person is absolutely wonderful, is Oprah Winfrey. The things that Oprah Winfrey has achieved at the time where it might have been difficult to achieve, right? For a young Black woman at the time, I think it's admirable. So Malala Yousafzai, Nisha Kotona, and Oprah Winfrey.
What a wonderful list out there. Thanks for sharing that. Talking about podcasts, talking about books, I can't but have you this question. What are three book or podcast recommendations?
Yeah, so I'm a big believer of habits, right? I believe that habits are everything. Having positively serving habits are going to get you by in life. So I would definitely recommend Atomic Habits by James Clear. And he really talks about habits in a very dynamic way. A lady that I had on my podcast called Sarah Dawkins, she's got a podcast called Heal Yourself, and she's got a book. And this book is filled with stories of people who have had life-threatening conditions, okay, or terminal conditions, or health conditions that are long-term, and they've healed themselves through food and lifestyle. And the amount of case studies that she's got in that book is amazing. Because I work with leaders, you can't lead well unless you are also healthy, right? And it was just reading case study after case study of learning about lifestyle and food and what works and people healing themselves. So I like that book because it inspires me that your body can heal itself, and it's such a intelligent machine, right? I would definitely read that book, Heal Yourself, because it will give you some insights. I would also recommend Daniel Priestley's book, A Key Person of Influence. All right. I think that's a really good book. I read it on the beach in Tunisia last year. Some really fantastic insights, and it contextualizes how to and why to become a person of influence. And I would also recommend my own podcast, all right, Think, Link, Lead. I interview leaders from all different walks of life, different industries that give great, fantastic leadership insights. So that is a resource in itself. So they are not three recommendations before. I hope that's okay.
Wonderful set of recommendations. Thanks for doing that. And here we are, the last of the part of the round. Since you are a well-being columnist, it is only fair to ask you this particular question. What are those three well-being practices that you recommend for listeners?
So the first well-being practice that I think is really important is that success routines, morning routines or evening routines or whatever routines you have, they have to align with you. All right. So you can watch YouTube and you can read books on how other people do it, but is that something that aligns with your energy? So for example, if I've got a client who's a manifesting generator in human design, they are not going to want to do the same thing every day. their energy is about variety, right? They are not going to keep up, all right, with the same routine every day. They'll find it boring. If you've got someone like me who's a projector, I will not be able to go to the gym and wake up at 5 a.m. every single day because I don't have the life force energy. So maybe every other day, then walk every other day, maybe take a bit of a rest. Yeah. So your morning routines have to suit your energy. And I've worked with a few fitness coaches on human design. So they can tailor their fitness plans to someone's human design type. Because they were saying to me, this person just does not follow this. I said, because that's not their energy type. I said, we are now evolved, right? We are so conditioned in life to watch other people who are successful, right? Which is what we should do. But we have to then say, does this align with me? So if you have a routine, make sure it aligns with you, right? You know, you have to push yourself, and consistency is key. But within that consistency, what can you do? So if you can't go to the gym every single day because you just feel so tired, right? Can you go to the gym twice a week, or can you walk every day? What can you do? Some people are better off doing yoga, Pilates. Some people are better off doing cardio, you know, really going for it. Depends on what their energy type is. So also with human design, some people are cut out to not eat so often. Some people are cut out to eat regularly, right? You're either focused or passive in the way that you do things, right? So you've got to say to yourself, okay, what can my eating habits be? But what suits me? So the message I'm trying to get across is tap into who you are. When you do things that align with who you are, and they're the things that you enjoy, and they're the things that light you up, you're more likely to have a routine about it, and you're more likely to be successful. So yes, I would definitely say that is something important.
Wonderful. Thank you. That wraps up the Power of the Lord segment here. Bijal, thank you so much for doing that. What next for Bijal?
So I'm at a phase now where I'm at the nurturing phase, right? So now I want to build on the things that I have created. The things that I have put out into the world, I want to nurture. I want to make sure that they give absolute value, that they're making a difference to those leaders. I want to be part of projects that are absolutely advocating for coaching, mentoring, and training, and nurturing the new generation of leaders that are coming up. All right. I've got a lot of guests coming on my podcast, the Think, Link, Lead podcast, who now talk about AI, and they talk about neurodiversity. So it's about adapting programs and putting in training to support organizations, you know, to serve those leaders, because the new generation of leaders are not going to be like the generation of leaders that we have now. And they all know about their well-being, and they're incredibly creative. They've got to absolutely have that platform to unleash their creativity. And with AI coming as well, I want to make sure that schools also understand that, you know, prompt generation, you know, when you put in prompts in AI, that generation, they're going to grow up with AI. So they need to have a curriculum that helps them to understand AI, how to use prompts, you know, how to use it to really impact creativity. So these are the things I want to be involved in: giving absolute value, impacting leadership and the future generation of leadership, and also, you know, working with schools as well to really develop curriculums that are modern, relevant, and are going to get pupils that are future fit for leadership and the changing world. And obviously focusing on raising the profile of human design, because I think that it's a really good little guide to help you to, you know, align yourself with who you are, because we're transforming, aren't we? You can see the world is changing, right? People are doing drastic things. People are leaving their jobs. People are, if they're in their jobs, they are going into something different, right? Okay. There's people who are now going, does that work for me? Does that not work for me? People are talking about well-being. It's about time that humans learn how to balance their well-being with their work, whether it's employed or not. We've got to start understanding and enjoying life. This work all the time. You know, how many times do you hear, oh, I'm so burnt out. Oh, I'm so tired. I had Dr. Audrey Tang on the Think, Link, Lead podcast, and she's a multi-award winning author. And she has this trilogy of books about leadership well-being. And she said to me on the podcast, you know, you hear people say today was a good day. And I said, yeah, what's wrong with that? And she said, what's wrong with that is that every day should be a good day and bad days should be the rarity, but it's the other way round. And I thought that was quite a penny dropping moment, because we do say today was a good day, today was a good day. But what if every day was a good day and bad days were just something quite rare? So that was something as well that I wanted to highlight.
Yes, that looks like a very tall mission filled with lot of hope, lot of aspiration, and also a future fit mission. It is not something that you want to do for the past, but it is something that you're preparing for the future. So wishing you good luck, wishing you lots of success, Bijal. Thank you so much for taking time and sharing this wonderful information, knowledge. Particularly, like I said, I'm intrigued with the whole human design systems. Before we sign off, Inspire Someone Today is all about creating ripples of inspiration. What's your Inspire Someone Today message for all of our listeners before we take leave from them today?
Look, it's no coincidence that you were born on this planet. You're here for a reason, okay? And you have got the skills, the attributes and the qualities that you have, because they're the things that you should be utilizing and leveraging in this life. They're a natural part of you, right? So my message is, take some time to understand who you really are, connect with your inner being, and then take it from there. When you do life in a way that really suits you and suits your energy and aligns with what you're naturally good at, you're just going to have a better life.
That's a secret mantra for you to have a better life. Find alignment, find that inner congruence.
Yes, inner congruence. Yes, absolutely.
Wonderful. Bijal, on that note, thank you so much, and wishing you and your mission a lofty success. Thank you.
You too. You too.